My name's Gerard Butler, and I'm here shooting the Festina commercial, and apparently this is my life in movies. I haven't seen this. I've, I wasn't allowed to look at it, but I didn't know I was doing this. Oh my God. I want to start with when I started acting, I used to think, oh my God, if I could even get one movie, just one, even a small budget, like just a little movie, but that's never going to happen. I'll never get a movie. And now I'm looking through this book that's my life in movies. So it's kind of, that's a little cool, a little law-abiding citizen. This is first movie I ever produced. So I worked a lot on this script and it was amazing, but I was always playing the other role. I was playing Jamie Foxx's role. And we offered Jamie or his role and he said, no, but I would play, I want to play the main role, the cop. And I went, okay, then I'll play the other role. So we swapped roles and that was a tough shoot. And then the movie came out. I thought it was going to be terrible, and it was amazing. And this movie, Law Abiding Citizen, if when people come up on the street, they're probably the three movies they say are 300, Law Abiding Citizen, and this one, P.S. I Love You, with the lovely, lovely Hilary Swank. And we shot this in Ireland and New York. It was so much fun to shoot. Oh my God, shooting in New York. I'm shooting in New York now, but I don't get to do that a lot. Yeah, this is a beautiful story. Mm. I'm gonna get really emotional doing this. I'm sorry, guys. It's just okay, okay. Now I can't get emotional anymore because 300. Now I trained very, 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 very hard for this movie, and I was training like 6 hours a day, three different types of training, also to get into that kind of spiritual, physical, mental, psychological place that I felt they were in. And then I used to also try and imagine Leonidas like he was like a special effect, like the Matrix, like he was in another time. But as you know, time isn't linear, he's really here and in the future. So I would imagine that he was present in me. And I would say, what do you want me to say? What is the message? What are the, of valor, of honor, of courage, of sacrifice? What is it you want to come through my eyes to the world? And I used to sit and meditate on that and imagine him there. Now, yeah. And this was the first movie of mine I ever watched where I kept waiting. I always would wait for the movies to get bad at bits, get slowed down, or not a good performance by me or somebody. And this one, I'll never forget the first day we watched it. It went from good to better to better to better to better. And at the end, there was like 12 of us there. And at the end, when the credits came up, looking down like this, and everybody looking along like this, like, oh my God. It's like 12 people like, "Wait," and goosebumps. And when you put in a lot of effort to something and, blood, sweat, and tears, and it pays off. That feeling is all the more. What else? What else? Oh, so I just had a Viking movie open this weekend, How to Train Your Dragon. But this is a Viking movie I made 22 years ago. I know, I don't look old enough. You're probably thinking I was only 5 or 6, but no, no, I was older. Beowulf and Grendel, based on the original Saxon poem. Shooting in Iceland, we had 4 hurricanes. I was in the Icelandic Sea for like a day at one point, and this shoot, because it was very low budget, was so dangerous. Every day, like 3 people almost died on that movie. The documentary about the making of this movie is like Hearts of Darkness for Apocalypse Now. It was insane and it was amazing. I was training so hard for that movie. And then halfway through the movie, we had no money and the hurricanes were destroying everything. So we had to start shooting really fast. And I no longer had time to train. And when I watched the movie at the end, I saw a difference in my performance between a fire in my eyes and then a little more languid. And I preferred the fire in the eyes where I could still be languid, but so that's where I learned for 300. I wasn't just training, but every time before a shot, I lifted and I lifted. And it wasn't even for the size, it was so when I spoke, the blood was flowing. I was ready. Um, And that made a big difference, because he was always like, "Yeah, so what's going on? Yeah, well, little crazy, little crazy." I'm talking to you, but there's a lot of people here kinda looking at me like I'm nuts. Phantom of the Opera, that's a very special one to me. I can't believe I ever was allowed to make this movie. I'd never I could sing, but I never had a professional singing lesson in my life. And I had one singing lesson, and I had to sing to the teacher, Music of the Night. And I said to her, "Look, just tell me, I'm gonna sing for you and just tell me, am I wasting my time? Because if I'm wasting my time, it's fine. I won't go in." I'll never forget singing, and then at the end, her head was down, and she looked up and she went, "Yeah, you can absolutely do this, but you have to learn. You have a lot of rules to learn." And that's all I needed to hear because I like learning. I love learning for films. And it's a surf movie or a sword fighting movie or whatever, learning, singing, something that, skills that you have to put in to also make you more involved, almost spiritually in the project. But anyway, everything about this, when I was playing the Phantom, I felt his pain so much. So even though it was a beautiful experience and everything, but I was kind of always away in another space, and I would feel really heartbroken during it a lot, as he was. And at the end of the movie, I had to spend 6 days going to work at 3 in the morning because it took 6 hours to put this makeup on. And I had to work 6 days in a row, and it took 2 hours to take it off. So I was going to work at 3 in the morning, which meant leaving my house at 2. I was getting home at 11 o'clock at night. And every day I was losing my mind and going crazy on set. And did 6 days in a row. And I literally thought I needed to be checked into a psychiatric ward, to be honest. And after this, I went, I'm never working. I don't want to ever work again. This is, yeah, it did not make me want to make any more movies for about 2 months. And then I'm like, what do we got? What do we got? I'm unemployed. Oh my God, this is a lot of stuff. Wow. Like, okay, man, just be plain. This was a blast. This script was very old fashioned, and we had to work on it a lot to bring it up to date. So still have it feel like a 90s movie, but not be too caricature and find super emotional moment. That's why I think I prefer this even to acting is developing scripts. I love working on scripts and finding moments and like puzzles. You go, that's not working. This doesn't, if we do that there, it takes away from this. And, how do we pace this up? What's a surprising moment here? What is this? That's amazing. It's almost like a Rubik's cube, and then suddenly you go, and you're like, "Oh, wow, that actually works." And it doesn't always, you just think it does, Sometimes then the movie comes out, you go, "No, that didn't work." But that's the plan. That's the plan. Then I go, "Oh, I did just do a musical. I just did this. Nobody saw it, but I don't care because it was playing Santa Claus in the night before Christmas." So it's so funny. This script, it's all in rhyme and a lot of it, and it's like 12 songs, the 12 Crimes of Christmas. It is so clever and so funny. And anyway, I made that for this Christmas. And so I was playing Saint Nick, and I had just finished playing Big Nick in Den of Thieves, Pantera in Spain, by the way, and Tenerife. And at the same time as I was playing Big Nick, I was playing this character Louis in Italy, and I was playing the most depraved assassin, killer, gangster, scummy, not a very nice person. And I was doing both at the same time. So I would do the gangster and kill a bunch of people, and then I would jump over to London and play Santa Claus and be singing for the kids. So I kind of was a little bit like, just came out. I know I shouldn't talk about this, but but I'm gonna. 98% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Are you kidding me? Highest scoring ever, live action remake. Very excited. I love this franchise. I have so much heart towards it because the messages are so positive. The story, everybody identifies with, whether you're a kid or an adult, you know, and yeah, I just think it, and the movie's so breathtaking, and I had a chance to put on the most extravagant, crazy costume, and I've worn a lot of costumes, but I had a chance to wear the craziest costume This costume weighed 92 pounds, and I had to wear this for 12 hours a day. And it was brutal. But I'll tell you what, I felt like a Viking. Yeah, I didn't have to lift weights for that one. I didn't need to lift weights. I was literally walking around lifting weights. But this was so much fun to make because we built all the sets. So the movie was massive, massive budget. I've never worked on a movie, pretty much by far the biggest movie I've ever worked on. And it felt like we built a Viking city, and we built Viking longships, and we built, grand halls, Viking halls that were the size of a New York building, a huge arena and a whole Viking village and a massive harbor with ships in it. It was so great. So, and when you do a movie like that, that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure on you. It was a massive budget. And every time I go into a movie, even though I've been around for a while, I always go, this is the one you're going to mess up. This is the one, like, this is where they go, yeah, he's not really that good. I don't know how he managed to make all those other movies. And this one, when I first tried on the costume, it, it was more than 92 pounds. At that point, it was like 110. It was so heavy. And I kind of freaked out a bit, and I was like, wait, for 9 weeks wearing that for 12 hours a day, I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And because I like to think worst case scenario and obsess on that, that I went home and went, oh my God, this is one of the biggest movies ever made, and it's going to fall apart because I can't wear the costume. That's simple. I can't wear the costume, and they didn't have time to recast. But of course, that wasn't going to happen. I started wearing weight vests every day for 20 minutes, for half an hour, for an hour, and just getting used to more and more and more weight. And then, yeah, and by the end, I loved it. I'm like walking out twice the size of everybody else in my big helmet, just making sure I didn't kill people when I turned. Greenland's another movie I was super proud of, about the comet, the family trying to get to Greenland. And we just made the second one. Wow, it's been a busy time, I guess, as I think about that. It really is crazy that when I started out, I kept thinking, I'll never get him. Who's really going to say, hey, do you want to be the main role in this movie? Who would do that? And now I've made like 60 movies or something. Like, to the point that I'm looking through this going, oh yeah, oh yeah. That's what's crazy. You go, oh my God, I made that movie. And yet when you're in a movie, it feels like a massive part of your life. If every day feels like a marathon, and you do that for months, and you get to the end and you're like, oh my God, it just feels so all encompassing. And then 4 years later, you're like, oh my God, I made that movie. It's just like this. It's very weird, but it's been a joyous, adventurous, crazy, happy, and awful, and all of those things ride. And I've met so many great people and had so many great life experiences. And that is the story of this guy.